Hey guys, it's Jo here, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I am doing my January wrap-up. So I read a total of, I guess, 6 books, but I'm counting my 7th book as January, even though it's the 2nd of February. So I read a total of 7 books. A lot of them were actually in reading vlogs, so you guys should know kind of what books I read if you watched those. So this should not be any surprise to you. Starting off, I read Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and this is in the point of view of the Queen of Hearts before she became the Queen of Hearts. This is kind of like the journey that led her to being the Queen of Hearts, if that makes any sense. So it's a lot different from all of like the Alice in Wonderland like movies and stuff that we've seen. The main character's name is Catherine, and she actually was not born of royalty. She was born of nobility and had actually been married off into being the queen. I ended up rating this a 5 out of 5. This has always been one of my favorite books, and of course this was continuing to be one of my favorite books, so of course I rated it a 5 out of 5. I strongly recommend this if you're looking for an Alice in Wonderland retelling. It makes you cry, and it's very sad, but it's a good sad kind of way. Well, I guess nothing sad is ever good, but you know what I'm saying. The next book I read was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I rated this at 4 out of 5. I liked this a lot more than the first book. I think I'm actually starting to get into the Harry Potter series more, especially with this book. It was more entertaining to me, just kind of what happened. I feel like I've read and watched the first movie over and over and over again, so I wasn't that entertained. I have watched this movie before a lot of the times, but I always ended up watching the first one. So there were still a couple of surprises in this book that actually surprised me. So I did like this one a little bit more, and I'm excited to move on through the series because I rarely watched any of those movies besides The Goblet of Fire, because that one is by far my favorite. The next one I read was Our Dark Duet by V.E. Schwab. I rated this book a 5 out of 5. I absolutely loved it. This is the second book in the series. The first book was This Savage Song, and I absolutely loved it. The second book was very entertaining, and it was actually really different from the first one. Same characters, same world, just different problems, I guess. I mean, that's kind of what happens from first and second books, but this had really changed kind of like the way I saw the characters. If you actually see my reading vlog, I was very upset about this, and plus I did a book review on it, so go watch those 2 videos. I will link them down below along with all my reading vlogs I did this month. I absolutely love this book. I think you guys should read it. I mean, obviously you have to read the first one, but like I said, read the first one and then read this book. Hopefully you guys have as many emotions as I did. This was a very emotional book for me for some odd reason. I don't know. I cried a lot. The next book that I read that I just finished today was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I rated this at 4 out of 5. I absolutely love the story, but I don't think I was so involved in it that I would have rated it a 5 out of 5. I'm definitely ready for a second book, although I think this is a standalone. The ending had just drove me crazy. I loved the ending, but the last line had made me think there's going to be a second book, but honestly I don't think there is. It's a good standalone, I'm not gonna lie. It's a good standalone. So I actually really liked this. It took me a lot longer than I was planning on reading it. So I started this Wednesday and ended it today on Sunday. I definitely could have got it done before that, but I've had a lot of homework this week, so that's why my reading this week was kind of slow. The next book I read was Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. I did a reading vlog specifically on this book, and you guys saw a lot of emotions from me from that, so hopefully you kind of got my thoughts and opinions on this book. I feel like I waited too long to do an actual good book review, so I'm sorry about that. If you guys still want me to do one, I'm sure I can put one together. Comment down below if you really want to see one. But I cried so hard during this book, not even just at the ending, it's just throughout the book. There were so many scenes that got me really emotional, so that was crazy. And like I said, I rated this at 5 out of 5 because this was an amazing ending to this book series, and I'm really excited for her next book series, which I've already read first chapter preview of it on this website, so I already know I'm gonna like it. I'm excited for it. The last book I read this month was In the Hall with a Knife by Diana Peterfront. At least that's how I think her name is pronounced. I rated this, I think, a 4 out of 5. It was a really good book, but the ending had kind of frustrated me because I was right on who it was, but the characters kind of excluded this person when they were suspecting people. So it was really frustrating to read this because I'm like, I think it's this person because 1, you guys haven't suspected this person, and 2, they have a motive. So it was kind of driving me crazy, but I also felt really good that I figured it out before everyone else. It's a really pretty book, honestly. Clue was one of my favorite, I guess, stories. I loved the game. I just watched a movie last night and I read this book. All amazing things. I don't know if there's going to be a second book. The ending kind of made it seem like there's going to be a second book, but I honestly have no idea. If there is, I'm kind of wondering what it's going to be called because this pretty much described the murder and everything, and like obviously the weapon and the place. So don't be mad that I just spoiled that. You're welcome. Thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Comment down below what books you read in January. Like this video and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. I will see you next time, guys. Bye!